Nate Bargatze is the hottest comedian in America right now, and you can bring your grandmother to see him. Hey there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is going to be a fun episode. It's about my favorite comedian right now, but before we get to that, I have to say hello. So, hello. This is Plain English, episode number 785. Plain English is all about helping you upgrade your skills in English while also, at the same time, learning about the world and the English-speaking world. Now, the idea is you get to listen to real, interesting, authentic stories in English, but you listen at a speed that's right for you. And you can read a transcript and do some practice exercises too. All that is on the website at plainenglish.com/785. Each episode has a story, and today's story is about the comedian Nate Bargatze. He's everywhere these days. He has specials on streaming, he's got a book out, he's on tour, and will be hosting the Emmys next year. But the unique thing about Nate Bargatze is that his comedy is clean. You can bring your kids to see him. You can bring your grandmother to see him. So that's what today's story is all about. And the transcript is great for this episode because I put links to a lot of Nate Bargatze clips right in the transcript so you can hear him for yourself. And then you'll know if we have the same taste in comedy. Get the transcript at plainenglish.com/785 and look for the links to the YouTube clips of Nate Bargatze. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. When you think of stand-up comedy, what words come to mind? Funny, probably, but also edgy, provocative, controversial, offensive maybe, political, or sexually explicit. Some words that don't come to mind, at least in 2025, are clean, or family-friendly, or middle of the road. But those are exactly the words that describe America's most popular comedian, Nate Bargatze. Just a few years ago, Nate Bargatze was not very well known. He had played some segments on late-night television and had gained a following in smaller comedy clubs. But the big names, the comedians that were selling out arenas and getting specials, they were controversial. Dave Chappelle was famous for making jokes about the transgender community and suffering backlash for it. Ricky Gervais, the creator of The Office, ridiculed religious people on stage. Louis C.K.'s content was extremely sexual. Joe Rogan's comedy was highly political. But Bargatze realized that this type of humor alienates people. The entertainment industry had been catering to a narrow slice of the population, primarily on the coasts, that shared the same worldview and the same prejudices. He thought a different brand of humor could do better. So he carved out a lane for himself. He is the clean comedian. When you listen to Nate Bargatze, you won't hear any sexual jokes. He says he's never even thought of one in his life. He tells jokes about religion, but he's a religious guy, so his jokes come from a position of belonging. He doesn't tell jokes about different races, ethnicities, or cultures. You won't hear controversial political opinions. He says that when celebrities share political opinions, they're not doing it to serve the audience. They're doing it to serve themselves, to make themselves feel important. Then he adds, if the world is ever lacking for celebrity opinions, he'll reconsider. But for now, he's staying away from politics. So if that's what's not in Bargatze's comedy, then what do you hear? You hear normal stuff that normal people think about. He makes jokes about getting older. He's 46. And about disagreements with his wife. He talks about socially awkward situations, like when he had 2 food delivery drivers show up at his house with 2 different orders at the same time. He pokes fun at his education. He brags that he spent a year at college and then clarifies that he earned 0 credits. Previous jobs are a big source of material. He worked for the water company, reading meters, as a host at a family restaurant, and at Walmart, selling cell phones. He's not embarrassed to talk about his love for fast food. He makes fun of his own Southern accent. One of his funniest jokes is about how he struggles to order at Starbucks. He even made a joke about the name Jeff. He delivers this all with an everyman charm. He doesn't scream, doesn't run around the stage, doesn't use any props. He stands with a microphone and talks to you like he's sharing stories with a friend or a neighbor. Maybe that's why they call him the nicest guy in comedy. He leans into the title, saying that too much entertainment is made for small slices of the public. He says he wants his comedy to be for everyone, and jokes, I do well with grandmothers. His big break came when he was invited to host the late-night sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live in 2023. Bargatze was considered a risk. Here was someone from the middle of the country whom most people had never heard of. He knew that this was his chance to make a big first impression on a big audience. He crushed it. His monologue was a collection of his greatest comedy hits, and he delivered it flawlessly. Many people were seeing him that night for the first time. Later in the show, he starred in a comedy sketch that mocks America's bizarre system of weights and measures. If any comedian can make gallons, inches, yards, and liters funny, that comedian is Nate Bargatze. The sketch was called one of the best in the last 15 years of Saturday Night Live. From there, it was true stardom. He returned to host Saturday Night Live later that year. He has had 3 Netflix specials, a special on Amazon Prime, a Christmas special on the broadcast network CBS, and several nationwide arena tours. He released a book in May 2025, and he's on an exhausting tour playing several shows per week. He regularly sells out 15,000-seat arenas. Last year, he made more money than any other comic in America, $80 million, and that's just from his tours. He's getting big media attention too. He was on the cover of Esquire magazine, did a podcast interview with the New York Times, and was in GQ magazine, and that was just in 1 month. More great things are in store. Next year, he'll host the Emmy Awards, and he's currently working on a Hollywood movie. It's called The Breadwinner. He co-wrote it and will star in it. He has formed a production company that aims to help identify up-and-coming comedians that share his clean comedy philosophy. I think he's really funny. And I say this as someone who doesn't really like a lot of stand-up comedy these days. And I'll raise my hand and say that I have felt alienated by comedy specials. I've watched a lot of comics and thought, this is just insulting. It's not funny at all. But one day I watched, purely by accident, Nate Bargatze's first Netflix special. I had no idea who he was, and I laughed the whole time. And I got to the end, I didn't even realize that it was quote unquote clean. It was just funny, that's it. So I recommend it. Stand-up comedy is hard to understand and appreciate in a different language, so you might not understand it all, but I can wholeheartedly recommend Nate Bargatze. I bet 3/4 of his jokes are funny in any language with any cultural background. He's on Netflix. He has 3 specials on Netflix, and he's got one on Amazon Prime too. Thrill of my life. I went to a comedy club in New York City. I was in college. The club was called the Comedy Cellar. Cellar, that means basement. The Comedy Cellar. It's still there. You buy a ticket, you don't really know who you're going to see. You'll see maybe 4 or 5 people for 10 or 15 minutes each. When I went, we saw a bunch of people. A few were funny, a few were not. And then they announced the last comedian of the night, Jerry Seinfeld. Now, at the time, I thought he was the funniest person in the world. And I could not believe I was seeing him live in a small club. I was 10 feet away from him, and he was great. I still remember some of the jokes he told that night. All right, that does it for today's episode. I've had this one in the back of my mind for a while, so really happy to be able to share it with you. This was number 785. So that means the full episode is at plainenglish.com/785. Now listen, go to the transcript. Even if you don't normally do it, go to the transcript because I have put links to a lot of Nate Bargatze's work in the transcript. So if you want to see the clips, go to plainenglish.com/785 and you'll see the links right there in the transcript. We'll be back on Monday. We have one more in our series on nutrition for the month of June, and we will do that on Monday. Can't wait for it. I can't wait to be back together with you, and we will do it together on Monday. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.